Okay, so now we're looking at the end of the play. Now, we already looked at the end of the play. We looked at the end of the play already, and it was a happy ending, right? It was nice. It was Prospero was going to get revenge on all of his enemies, and then he chose not to. Ariel said, I feel bad for these weeping people, and Prospero says, you're not even human. You feel bad for them. I want to feel bad for them too, and I'm actually I'm going to forgive my enemies, even though they don't deserve it. He forgives them, and he destroys his magic, which ruined his life by getting him addicted, pulling him away from the world and distracting him from his duties and his responsibilities to others. And he throws his book away and he breaks his staff and throws it in the ocean. He goes back, and his daughter has found a very nice young man to marry, and it's a happy ending. Um, and I talked about it as a happy ending, and now we're here at the end again. Um, but the first time I talked about the happy ending was part of talking about Prospero as being sort of like Shakespeare. Shakespeare's going into retirement. It's a metaphor for Shakespeare going into retirement. That Prospero says goodbye to his power of illusion, um, and that he says goodbye to his powers of illusion, and that he retires essentially, right? It's like Shakespeare retiring from the stage. He thanks all of his helper elves and little creatures that helped him, and Shakespeare's kind of thanking the actors for helping him. And it's a lot in common. That Prospero spent his life around illusions, and so is Shakespeare, because plays aren't real. Um, so it's a kind of lovely ending. And now I want to return to the ending again. And one of the things that makes Shakespeare Shakespeare. I hope this isn't confusing to do this. But one of the things that makes Shakespeare Shakespeare is I can watch the play and you can watch the play. We can watch it together. We might have totally different experiences of what's going on in one play. And this is one of the most interesting examples of that. Is you might have an experience and be like, what a nice happy ending, where the girl gets married to the nice young man, and Prospero says, you know what, this magic has messed up my life. I'm getting rid of it. I'm going back to do my duty and care about other people and not spend so much time with books. Um, and it's sweet. It's like I'm gonna forgive my enemies, and that's the end of the play. But there's something creepy about the end of the play too, and I don't mean to suggest. It's just different people in different seats are gonna have different things they're gonna notice, and I want to show you two different things to notice in the Tempest. So there's something creepy about the end of the Tempest. So let's talk about it. Um, so for starters, you remember earlier in the play. I don't know if you remember this, but Sebastian and Antonio. Um, remember that Prospero's brother destroyed Prospero and sort of got him kicked out of his position and took over. But the king's brother is also on this trip, and Prospero's brother is like, dude, the king like magically falls asleep at one point. We don't know why. The king and Gonzalo fall asleep, and Prospero's brother says to the king's brother, I got rid of my brother and I took over. You could kill your brother right now and you'd be king. So he tries to, and the two of them are about to do it. They're like, okay, let's fucking kill the king and then I'll be the new king. Because we're on a deserted island. Nobody's going to know, how the king died. We'll just say I buried him or whatever. So they try to kill him, and then Ariel is the one that made Gonzalo and the king go to sleep. So Ariel wakes them up and they're like, oh shit, what's going on? And they don't get killed. But here's the tricky part. Prospero knows that the king's brother was about to kill him because Ariel was there. Ariel reports to Prospero. Ariel is Prospero's spy. So Prospero knows for sure that the king's brother tried to kill the king and take over. Now, it didn't happen, but still, he knows something about these guys, and he brings it up. When they're all sort of forgiving, we're in the big forgiveness scene, and they're saying what happened, and Prospero says, he says aside to Sebastian and Antonio, meaning aside means that only Sebastian and Antonio can hear it. So he says, for example, welcome my friends all. So he says to all of them, all of his enemies, he calls them friends. But just quickly, he says to Sebastian and Antonio, but you, my brace of lords, meaning the two of you, were so high-minded. Were I so minded, I could here pluck his highness's frown upon you and justify you as traitors. At this time, I will tell no tales. So he's like, welcome, my friends. I'm not going to kill you. Welcome to my island. You're my friends. But he says to the two of them, I know that you tried to kill the king. I'm not going to I'm not going to say that today. So I won't say anything. But he knows, and knowledge is power. All right, let's go a little farther. And they tell stories about what the hell. Everybody wants to know kind of what the hell happened, and they're all asking, they're all shocked and surprised. They thought everybody was dead, and and Prospero's doing his magic to kind of make everything work. Okay, and then remember, the king thinks his son is dead, And then Prospero shows Ferdinand and Miranda. They're playing chess, and he sort of shows them there. Um, and everyone's amazed because they thought Ferdinand was dead. And again, Ferdinand's the next generation after the king. He's going to be the next king. So they thought he was dead and he's alive. So this is very happy, very exciting. And then something sneaky happens. Um, they're so happy. All the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise and say how thou camest here. Right? They can't believe it. Ferdinand can't believe his dad's. They thought each other were. His father and son thought the other one was dead. And Miranda. Here's a very famous line. Miranda says, "Oh wonder how many." This is one of my favorite lines in the play. Oh wonder how many goodly creatures are there here. How beauteous mankind is. Oh brave new world that has such people in it. Brave New World is the name of a very famous novel. It comes from this play. But she says, "Oh, brave new," because remember, Miranda hasn't hardly seen any human beings, right? She's only ever seen her dad. And she says, "Oh, brave new world that has such people in it," right? And then she saw Ferdinand, and now she sees all these people. And she's like, "What a great world that has these wonderful people in it. What a brave new," because it's a new world for her. She says, "What a brave new world." And by the way, the New World is what they used to call America when it was first discovered by white people. But, of course, it wasn't discovered. There were millions of people already living there. She says, "What a brave new world that has such people in it." And Prospero says, "It's new to thee," meaning, yeah, it's new for you. These people are not new to me. You think they're wonderful. They're assholes. You think they're new and amazing. They're not. That's irony. Again, the contrasting perspective on the same thing. So she says, "O brave new world that has such people in it, 'tis new to thee." And then the king says to his son, "What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your eldest acquaintance cannot be 3 hours. You just met her 3 hours ago. Is she the goddess that hath severed us and brought us together?" She's so beautiful, I think she's a goddess. "Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father her his advice, nor thought I had one. She is the daughter to this famous Duke of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renown, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life, and second father-in-law. This lady makes him to me. I am hers, but oh, how oddly will that sound! Must ask my child forgiveness." And then they talk a little bit about it. Um, so again, nice, happy ending. Prospero's beautiful daughter finds a beautiful husband, and everybody gets married. End of play. But I hope you will notice, Prospero kind of set this up so that the king's son would meet his daughter, right? He separated them in this way during the storm, so Ferdinand was alone. Also, Ferdinand thought his dad was dead, and then Prospero showed him a beautiful girl on this magic island, and of course he fell in love with her. So, and again, he sort of engineered this. But why did he engineer it? And that raises a kind of disturbing question, which is, boy, Prospero's doing real fucking well. Prospero knows that the king's brother and his own brother tried to kill the king. That's blackmail material. Awesome. Prospero also has set up a situation where his daughter has married the king's son. They're going to get married. He's in love with her. So that's an interesting, in a play about power, that's a real interesting power move. Because now his Prospero's daughter is going to be the next queen of Italy. Like, and Prospero is going to be father-in-law to a queen? That's powerful shit. He's not just running his little area in Italy, he's running the whole fucking country from behind the scenes. So there's something sneaky about what he's done. And notice that he had Ferdinand think his father was dead. Normally, the prince, if he was going to marry somebody, would have to get his dad's permission. But Prospero made Ferdinand think his dad was dead. So he didn't ask for permission. He just asked her to marry him because he thought he was the only person. He thought it was up to him. But he didn't ask his dad. Remember, by the way, his dad who forced his sister to marry somebody she didn't want to marry. But his dad can't force him to marry anybody because he's already engaged to this woman. And the dad is so happy to see him. He's not going to complain about this situation. But holy shit, Prospero is well set up. See you in the next video.